Hope you guys are all having a great day. Let's go see what's going on right now. Alright, so looks like we will be starting off with the NAM model as of right now. As you guys can see, we're going to go to the convection and we're going to go to surface base cape. We're going to go and continue to take this forward, and wow, dude, NAM really wants to take a lot of that cape into Indiana, Illinois, and even back to portions here of Ohio. And just look what happens, guys. It just continues staying through the Ohio Valley and then finally heads out. But I mean, pretty widespread setup of some pretty nasty cape right there. Supercell composite actually is decent, even across Indiana too as well. So that will definitely be interesting to see right there. Significant tornado parameter. Wow, dude. Still pretty high on that too as well. Looking very interesting for the significant tornado parameter. Let's go ahead and show you guys something else. Actually, I didn't mean to do that, but let's go ahead and show you guys something else. We're gonna go ahead and go to the let's see here. We're gonna go to the forecasts and we're gonna go to Storm Prediction Center outlooks. And as you guys see, we actually do have a marginal risk of severe weather. This definitely doesn't surprise me, but this definitely is gonna be a big deal as we do head into tomorrow with all threats in play, including a chance for a few tornadoes. But we will definitely need to be watching this area very closely, especially as we do head into tomorrow. As you can see for day 3, where most of the models was showing that cape moving through, and I see this is on Saturday, we actually don't have a threat for severe storms on Saturday. I'm pretty sure that was actually Friday, but they actually haven't issued anything for Friday, or I mean Saturday, as you can see. But I mean, Friday will be a day we do need to watch too as well. This is actually Friday. For a second, I thought this was Saturday, but this is actually Friday. So Friday is still looking like we could see a threat for severe storms, because some of the models, like, let's go ahead and look at the GFS model and see what it thinks, and it actually is showing a little bit of cape too as well. Not super bad though, it's not looking, but it is looking like we could see a little bit of cape in some areas. At least that will be something to watch for. And then if we do look at, let's see here, let's look at the GEM GPS model, and with this one, it actually is showing some cape too as well, guys. Look at that. It does show the cape coming in a little bit earlier compared to the NAM model, but it still does show quite a bit of cape moving through. The V2 model actually does show some pretty good cape too as well, because as you guys can see, it actually does show a little bit of cape moving through portions here of Indiana, and then maybe not very much cape after that, but I mean, it still shows some cape moving through portions here of Indiana. And as you see, I cannot select a region, but it will definitely be something to look and keep an eye on out for. And as you guys can see with the RAP model, you could probably also call it the RAP model, is actually showing some pretty good cape too as well, which is really interesting to see right there. So we're definitely going to have to watch this closely. And let's go back to the NAM model, because the NAM model, like, again, is really wanting to show the potential for severe storms across portions here of the Ohio Valley. It's even the most widespread on the Cape, instability, and more. And the NAM model is actually a pretty good model to go off of when you are talking Cape and instability and stuff like that. Let's go ahead and look at the total accumulation with the NAM model. Let's see what it thinks. And it actually doesn't really show any storms moving through. It's just showing this area dry, even though it is showing a chance for severe storms. But with the GFS model actually showing a little bit more, pretty beneficial, I would say. probably a little bit less than what we do need, but it is still a little bit of rain still to work with, though. While the CFS model, it don't look like we can do precipitation on this one, but we definitely can take a look at the wind shear with the NAM model. And for the wind speed, wow, dude, as we do head in the Saturday, wind shear is actually pretty strong, guys. Wind shear actually is pretty strong. We got a bunch of this wet red across the entire Ohio Valley and even the Midwest, which heads from Missouri all the way over here in the Pennsylvania. So that is definitely interesting to see right there. If we look at the lower atmosphere, we're going to look at 850 millibars, which is in the lower atmosphere. Wow, dude, actually still showing quite a bit of wind shear in the lower atmosphere too as well. So definitely looking pretty decent right there. The dew point, though, let's go ahead and look at that. For the dew point, wow, dude, it actually does show some pretty good cape across some of these areas. So definitely looking pretty strong in this area. I know this does say Celsius, but these blue colors actually indicate that in Fahrenheit. We're gonna go and zoom in a little bit so you guys can see a little bit better, but we actually are seeing some pretty good dew points across some of these areas. What about the GFS model? Let's go ahead and look at that. And wow, again, whoa. Holy crap, guys. Look at that. 60-degree dew points across some of these areas. That's what the GFS model wants to show. Some areas getting 60-degree dew points, guys. That is going to help fuel these storms and bring a ton of moisture to work with to help fuel these severe storms, guys. I'm just saying, this is going to be a really big severe weather setup if we start to see more of these things increase. Let's go ahead and look at the European model. And wow, the European model actually shows these dew points getting into the 60s, guys. Look, across southwest Indiana, getting some 60-degree dew points, guys. Isn't that just crazy? Dew points weren't even like this during the last couple of days, but now the NAM model, the European model actually wants to show those dew points getting pretty strong on Saturday. When you're talking 60-degree dew points, that is a ton of moisture to work with in the upper atmosphere, guys. So this is definitely going to be a big severe weather setup, I think. We'll have to still watch closely, but for how it's looking like, guys, we are definitely talking a big severe weather setup across some of these areas. And how I think it will look, well, first of all, we did have the marginal risk across places in this area, so pretty much northern Illinois, southern Wisconsin, and as well as eastern Iowa. But then as we head in this Friday and maybe Saturday, we might see a threat for severe storms across this area right here, which will be possible. So that will definitely be something to keep an eye on. And if we look at the NAM model again, guys, the NAM model actually wants to still show some of those dew points being pretty decent again, guys. So I mean, like I said, it is pretty interesting to see the dew points at least be in the 50s, with some models, especially the European model, bringing those dew points into the 60s. But if we do look at the surface cape again, look at this, guys. NAM model still wants to show some pretty good cape and instability across portions here of Indiana and Ohio. So, I mean, we saw 60-degree dew points was one of the models, and the European model is actually a pretty accurate model. It's actually a good one to go off of for dew points. So I am going to check off dew points because it is gonna be pretty strong. So let's see. We need three things for severe weather. We need dew point, so we're gonna put a dew point right there. We need cape, and we also need let's see here, what was the last thing, and wind shear. So we actually are seeing all of those, so dew points can be checked off now because we are seeing plenty of moisture. Cape can definitely be marked off, and then wind shear can also be marked off because we saw plenty of that. And this is all we need to get brief severe weather setups, guys. So this is going to be crazy, I think, guys. Very crazy. A crazy severe weather setup is still possible, guys. And let's actually go ahead and take a look here at let's see here. We're gonna go ahead and go to let's see here, what was gonna go to? I was gonna go to dew points again. So what about in the let's see here, dew point temperature? Well, in the well, like I was saying, in the lower atmosphere, the European model actually wants to show those dew points being pretty high. Let's see what they are in the very upper atmosphere. Let's see here, 800. It sounds like we can only look at the dew point on the 800, and I'm pretty sure that's actually where the dew point is anyway. So I mean, like, again, the European model is showing some decent dew points in parts of the atmosphere, and it hasn't even changed yet, guys. But let's actually go ahead and go to a different weather app, and let's see how it shows everything playing out on this one. So we're going to go to models. We're going to go to the NAM model, okay? We're going to change this to forecast loop. And if we go over here to the, let's see, we're going to go to the severe weather, and we are going to go to the mixed layer cape, and let's see what the NAM shows, guys. The NAM actually does show some pretty good cape coming into southwest Indiana on Saturday. Still, like, didn't you guys remember us taking a look at the cape with the NAM model on the other weather site? That's pretty much exactly the same thing on this one, guys. So pretty interesting setup with both websites. And with the surface-based cape might be a little bit higher, but as you guys can see, wow, it actually still shows the same thing again with the NAM model on this website. So that is definitely really interesting to see again. And if we look at the dew points, guys, we're gonna go to the I should probably say the European model, and let's go ahead and see what it thinks on those dew points. So we gotta go to I think we gotta go, yep, surface and precipitation. We're gonna go to dew points, and let's go ahead and take this forward, actually. So, wow, I mean, not nearly as high with this one, but I think that's because I'm using the other European model. There's actually another one I think that I can use, or is this the only European model? I thought there was another one that I could use, but I guess not. But okay, if that's what it's gonna be. But the European model still shows some decent dew points, guys. 50s, mid-50s is actually enough to maybe support some severe storms, guys, and it's even on Saturday again. So I think Saturday is going to be the biggest setup for severe storms with the Cape, wind shear, and just everything we have to propose a decent threat for severe storms. And let's actually go ahead and look here at the upper draft, because they actually might have a dew point. Let's see, 800 millibar dew point. Let's see if that does anything. So let's see here. We're gonna take this forward, and okay. I see what it's saying. It actually is showing near 60-degree dew points in some of these areas, guys. Okay. Yeah, because, I mean, I know it is showing it in Celsius, but 7 degrees Celsius is actually pretty close to 60. Look, 8 degrees Celsius, 7 degrees Celsius. So, I mean, it actually does show the dew points being pretty close. That's not a bad difference right there. So, pretty much showing near 60-degree dew point on both the 800 millibar dew point, height and wind. And that's the same thing with this one, guys. Same thing. So, pretty interesting, again, to really see this happening. And let's actually go ahead and look at, let's see, we're going to go to the GFS model and actually see what it shows. And it sounds like for the GFS model, we're going to go ahead and take this forward to Saturday. And it actually does show some decent dew points, guys. Let's see, does it show any higher dew points? Okay, 8 degrees Celsius, yep, that is 8 degrees Celsius right there. And look, guys, wow, 8 degrees Celsius across portions here of the Ohio Valley. So, I mean, that's the reason why we did check off dew points, is because some models, are showing that the dew points are decent. Even in parts of the atmosphere, dew points are near 60, guys. So that's what I'm saying. Dew points should be checked off, at least barely checked off, because some of them, like the European model and possibly the GFS model, are showing some decent dew points, guys. So that is really gonna be enough to support a severe weather threat or two. And let's go ahead and start talking about the marginal risk here in Illinois now. So we're going to take this back. And so as we head into Thursday, which will be for tomorrow, that's when we have the severe weather threat. So as you guys can see, for Illinois, marginal risk for tomorrow, we actually do see some decent dew points. They might be a little bit low, but it's still enough to maybe fuel a thunderstorm or two. And what about the Cape? We're going to go to the NAM model, and the NAM model might show some decent Cape up there. Let's go ahead and look at that. So for the NAM model, as we head into Thursday, it actually does show a little bit of Cape, maybe. I mean, that's just a maybe, because on Thursday, the NAM model actually wants to show that Cape just staying here in Illinois. What about the GFS model, though? GFS model actually wants to show more of that Cape hanging into more of Illinois, Iowa, and as well as Missouri. So I mean, there actually is quite a bit of Cape to work with. Not joking about that. There actually is quite a bit to Cape to work with. And wow, guys, again, look at that. Did you guys see that? GFS model actually wanted to show some decent Cape again across portions here of Southwest Indiana. So I mean, I'm pretty concerned about Southwest Indiana getting some severe thunderstorms as we do head into the weekend, especially on Saturday. But let's actually go ahead and take a look at the supercell composite. So for the GFS model, it actually might show a few spots that could see some supercell development, guys. That might be possible right there. But the NAM model might be a little bit better model to use. Let's see what it thinks. And it actually is showing still some pretty good development across portions here of Illinois, maybe even heading back to Missouri, and then even better. Wow, guys, look at that, even better across here in Southwest Indiana. Like, every time I move this, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, it takes about 5 times for all of this yellow and green to go away, which does indicate that all day Saturday could have the potential for severe storms across here in Southwest Indiana. And let's go ahead and look at the significant tornado parameter. In the model, the NAM model actually wants to show it being decent across southern Indiana, southern Illinois, and maybe back to parts of southeast Missouri. But like, even back here in the portions here of Illinois might actually be decent too as well. So I mean, for how it's looking like, it sounds like we are going to be talking severe weather across portions here of Indiana, guys. I think that's going to be a massive concern as we do head into that day. So, I'm just going to go ahead and get a drink real quick. I will be right back, guys, but you guys can go ahead and see if you guys are in this area, and if you are, you might need to be aware for severe storms as we do head into the weekend. Okay, guys, I am finally back now. I'm sorry about that. I was just getting a drink and also getting a phone just for something. Just wait one moment, please. Okay, I'm finally back now. Sorry about that, guys. I'm finally back now for a few things. And as you guys can see, still we will likely see some severe weather set up across portions here of Southwest Indiana, Southern Illinois, maybe even back through parts of Kentucky. So again, looking pretty decent across some of these areas. And look, some of that even heads into Southwest Indiana again as we head into the weekend. And let's actually go ahead and look on how the Storm Prediction Center is looking, and oh, you might be joking. There is actually a warning in effect. Okay, we actually do have a let's say a snow squall warning in effect for portions here of Colorado. Also looks like there's a special marine warning in effect, and it says that there is the possibility of some water spouts. Okay, water spouts seem to be a possibility for portions here of California, guys. So pretty interesting to see that. And yeah, and let's go ahead and go back here. We're gonna click on here, and it looks like for it sounds like on let's see, let's read this. It says from Saturday day 4 into Sunday day 5, a elongate positive tilt upper though is forecasted to move gradually east across the plains and towards the Mississippi Valley. And it also looks like this is indicating maybe a possibility of some severe weather. We'll have to still watch these areas very closely. But we're gonna go back and take a look at maybe a few more models. We're gonna go to this one again, and we're gonna see how this one wants to show it. And this one actually shows Wow, guys, this one shows a ton of CAPE. Look at that, 500 joules per kilogram across portions here of Indiana. But what about the CAPE, or I mean, what about the other things that have? Looks like it only has CAPE actually, but I mean, gosh, guys, that is crazy. What about the sheriff model? I'm pretty sure that's what it's called. What about the sheriff model? It actually does show a little bit of CAPE heading into portions here of Southwest Indiana. It doesn't look like there's any category for the Midwest, but it actually does show some decent CAPE moving into Southwest Indiana. So again, pretty decent, guys. We got some pretty good model agreements so far, and us really having this go. And as you guys can see, this model only has 50 hours out, and look at that, guys. Even this model actually is already starting to show some pretty good CAPE across portions here of Indiana. And feel free to leave things in the chat if you want. That is perfectly fine with me. Doesn't look like very much of you guys joined, but let's go ahead and look at the potential for some flash flooding. Okay, I just wanted to know if they did issue a threat for some flash flooding. I just gotta wait for this to load, and it hasn't gone through yet. There we go. And I see we actually do have 2 marginal risks for flash flooding, mainly across the southwest United States. On day 2, we start to see a flash flood threat. On day 3, no flash flood threat, but on day 4 and 5, we see a marginal risk for flash flooding across this area right here. Pretty much this whole area is likely to see a threat for some flash flooding. As you guys see, it actually does go down to the south a little bit. So I mean, again, pretty interesting on the severe weather setup. And I also do want to tell you guys that I did look at some of the weather apps, and some of them were indicating thunderstorms across portions here of Indiana, Illinois, maybe even a few other areas. But like, again, pretty decent CAPE and everything, even some pretty good model agreement on how it's going to be looking. So yeah, it's definitely going to be a big deal, guys. It's definitely going to be a big deal. And if you do live in northern Illinois, southern Wisconsin, eastern Iowa, and maybe even northwest Missouri, or I mean northeast Missouri rather, you guys need to be on high alert for some potential flash flooding. So hope you guys are still doing well. So it looks like one of you guys joined. We are talking about the potential for severe storms across portions here of the Ohio Valley. Well, let's go ahead and show you guys the NAM model. And for the NAM model, it actually does want to show quite a bit of CAPE across portions here of the Midwest. So as you guys can see, we actually will be seeing a lot of CAPE. At least that's what the NAM model wants to show as right now. And if we also look at the supercell composite, it actually also wants to show some pretty good supercell potential across portions here of these areas. So pretty decent again across portions here of Indiana, maybe even back to parts of even Ohio. Maybe Ohio could get in on some of the severe weather. We might even see a threat for severe weather for the entire Ohio Valley. It could look something like this, guys. Let me go ahead and draw this out for you. It could look something like this. Wow. I mean, I just think we could see a huge area of potentially severe weather. Just look at this, guys. Just look at this. We still showing some instability or supercell development potential across some of these areas. So pretty decent again, guys. Hope you guys are still alright out there. We will continue to keep you guys updated on how these things are looking like, but we're definitely gonna have to still watch closely. But I hope you guys are enjoying my live streams. We will do a video tomorrow about how things are looking like, but thank you guys very much for watching, and I will do a live stream or a video tomorrow.